special on YouTube. We're going to coming to Multicultural Japan, Pinku Style podcast. Got a special guest in the building. First time on the podcast. I got my guy right here, Everett Mapp, a.k.a. DJ Reddrokk, fellow East Coast native, New York native, fellow East Coast member. And also we got the course. We can't get out of here. We got the Lacrosse and the ones and twos right there, keeping them live and everything. So anyway, man, like we got one guy down there on the couch. You can't see off the screen down there. My guy DJ Wiz. Wiz has already been on there a few times before. So the way me and Reddrokk here met was about 4 years ago, 5 years ago now.
Yeah, before the car.
Yeah,
about a year or so before that,
It was we met and everything again by Wiz and got the RX-7 that my guy Alan got and everything. So crazy how that all worked out, man. But we did a joint together at the club with Icky on the wall over there, and that was our first time meeting, man. And it's just kind of we ain't talk as much, man. But the cool thing about the vibe and everything, man, is like we just pick up where we left off from and everything, man. So the one thing I definitely want to right that wrong, and definitely I've been kind of hiding in my joint and doing my business and making kids and everything. I got 5 now, and so it's
that's
like
5.
Yeah,
man,
dude.
I thought it was 3.
Nah, 5. I got the twin. The last joints are twins.
Oh man.
Yeah, so we retired though, man. We retired and everything. So, but yeah, man. Anyway, guys, we got Reddrokk here, man. What brings you to Masawa, man? We'll start from that, man.
Well, I came up to see, where's he's true blue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you do got talking.
Yeah,
to
he's
though.
true blue. We're planning to maybe make a move to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to come out and touch base and kick it with the homie.
Okay.
I mean, he's one of those guys like. He doesn't talk about it. He does it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, my son's having a birthday party. He's there. He's back on a 3-hour train or whatever, heading back the same day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, when it comes to him, I come out and we're just kicking it.
Yeah, man.
We did a party last year, actually, for a squadron. We were spinning last night.
Okay.
It was pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, man. So they got how much lead time do you guys have before the event? They just like 2-3 weeks or?
I'm not sure exactly when it got booked, but we started talking about it maybe a week and a half ago.
Okay.
And kind of like thinking about the logistics of how we get up.
Mm.
It's always a matter of, when you're in Sendai, it's always a matter of like how you're gonna get here.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the 4-hour drive?
Yeah.
Or do you want to pay the $200 for the bullet train?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of got that down and decided it was gonna be this weekend. He's got a similar thing happening next week, so we kind of decided on which one would be better. And it was a Japanese holiday on Friday.
Yeah. So
we had a little bit. The kids were out of school, so I wouldn't have to pull them out. So we decided to head up.
Yeah, and I actually, when you hit me up, I was coming back from actually Kawasaki, and right as you hit me up, because I didn't know there was a holiday the next day, so I was actually going to stay down there. And he's like, "No, we're gonna be closed." And I was like, "Well, they extended our hours. I had to pick up a car and bring it back, and everything, man. So it's all cooler, man. But like,
did you hit that traffic?
Not actually, no. Of course, man. On the way back up
is like that.
I didn't know what it was.
Travel traffic.
Yeah, I was in. I mean, just to get from Kawasaki to get back to Tokui 4 took 2 hours.
Right.
Just to get back, crawling, and most of the time, most of the dudes just trying to merge over to exit into Tokyo, man. But that's all there, man. But again, like in the beginning, man, I like to always give out to my the guys so people can pretty much follow you here on your YouTube channel here. You work with various artists. You got most of your videos is your artists or your beats or
it's a combination of both.
Okay.
I have some beats up there. I love the DJ. That's where I started at.
Right.
That's where my heart is at. So I like to do mixes.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot of DJ mixes up there.
Got you.
Sometimes you just want to hear the songs. So it's like I put them all in one place. They don't always fit in your phone.
Right.
So mostly that's some different artists I work with, rap artists or R&B artists, and a lot of mixes on there.
Right, and I remember you sent me. I still got them on my Dropbox. A few of your artists and everything you're working with stuff on your Instagram here. People can follow see your Instagram DJ Reddrokk as well. Right. Different things in there. So Instagram, you got different artists' pictures and things like that. So guys can go in and check that out. That's the Seinfeld.
Yeah, that's West NYC. It's that's kind of like a novelty sneaker store.
Okay.
In New York City. Yeah. On the Upper West Side. Yeah. It
looked like the Seinfeld sign though.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
I think they did a take on it.
Yeah, man.
Oh, they do crazy business though. They get like those kind of vintage sneakers or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you go in there to buy some sneakers, you're gonna spend some
money.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I mean, when we met, like, I met a lot of people since I've been here, man. But like, for me, man, anybody that Wiz introduced me to is like we automatically brothers, man. And then like to have you be from NY, man, be deep in it. And the thing about it, what I respect the most about you, man, like I said offline many times, is like you could tell, I mean, I know you know a lot of guys in the industry and the scene. You met a lot of people, but like you're your own man. And that's what I respect, man, because you'll be like, yeah, man, I was with this dude and with that guy. A lot of people out there try to play up their stock on somebody else. And I'm like, nah, man, I met that dude, I met this guy, and that's I mean, that when I first met you, that's why I was like, he's his own man. He's chill, he's cool. And then you're NY OG in the beats. So like let's on the beats though, man. Like, so how did you what did you start making beats on, man?
Oh. That started in college, but let me say thank you for having me here.
Oh, no problem, man.
Because I don't even know that
it's too easy,
I
man.
have anything for people really want to hear.
Nah, man.
But let me say, like, that came from DJing. When I started DJing, it's like when you start DJing, you kind of like you start doing those blends,
right?
Like the Ron G or the doo-wop tapes you used to listen to, or
right,
like the Kid Capri doing the Something in the Way You Make Me Feel over the Honey Drippers.
Yeah,
like you like to do those blends, and that kind of turned into like, well, let me get my own beat to go over that thing. So I started with like the Gemini 8-second sampler. I sample my drums, sample my horn, and have that running, and then get another couple of records on the decks to go with that. And that's how it all really started.
Right.
And my homeboy, Arcal, who's passed away now, rest in peace, real good guy. He was the first to come through like rapping in my college. And I was like sampling Led Zeppelin and just drums and horns and just real random stuff. Yeah, and that's how it really started. Yeah. But as far as the machines like you have like the MPCs and stuff, that was like another like kind of evolution of that happened later. Right. I called myself making beats on 4 tracks and like rolling R5 drum machines and whatnot, and that 8-second sampler. Until I got an SP12, which was like 6-7 years in. Right.
Yeah. So that SP12, that's what I was saying. The SP12, and I got guys who don't know about it, man. You go back and I'll bring it up. Right? You use this technology right here we got there, and just show you guys what the SP12 look like and what guys are really working with, man. So like the SP12 right here, you guys see in the background is roller right there. EMU. Yeah. So the SP12, man, and you see they're bringing back some of the old joints, but with the new technology and smaller chips and everything. And one joint, did you see the joint on Hulu with the Wu? Yeah, bro. Yeah. That perfect timing, dude. Perfect direction. I don't want to get copyright strike, but when that one part when RZA was making the beat and was taking out the dudes playing the drums, like, oh no, too high, that part was the dopest ever, dude. Cause like it's like your lifetime. Like, nah, let me get another drum in there. Let me get this there. And then I didn't know the joint that wasn't the original sound. Like that was a sound, and then they flipped it. Like, nah, man, let's change it. So that's what I like about sampling. Yeah. That's what I like sampling, man, because it can go so many different ways, man. And I'll show guys that it can go different ways. But then, you had the SP12, man. Like, so you mentioned the time, and then we were just offline doing the MPC one. Right. And what we were saying for the guys, one privy to the conversation was, I think a lot of the newer cats, man, they got too much sampling time now, and they don't limit themselves. So and they just kind of the beats too. It's like too much. Like you mentioned, you played the joint. You was like, man, I'm cool with these two. I'm cool with those. You know what I mean? That's all I need. Yeah. And actually, go ahead.
No, I think it's like when you were on the court, when you had your your canvas Converse, you know what I mean, and you're on a basketball court with cracks in it. You know what I mean? Like that was good enough for you when you can build up your skills. Right. And it's like now, you can have these high-tech shoes and be on this like crazy linoleum floor, but that's not really gonna make you better. Right. So it's kind of like, that simplicity. I think it pushes your creativity. Yeah. If you've been watching Pinku Style for a bunch on YouTube, I've been in Japan for about 16 years. One of the most challenging things when you come to a foreign country is getting control somehow on a local language. That way you can communicate effectively, make more money, do business, and all that stuff like that. When you go to a Japanese, speak to Japanese, you don't read the book. You speak to a person face to face. It's going to be Japan Language Factory, JLF.
run by Terumi Kai. I've been partnered with Terumi Kai for about now 2 months. If you want to go ahead and learn Japanese, definitely get over to JapanLanguageFactory.com. Check out the site, see what they got to offer. You'll get a free consultation when you sign up. And after that, you can kind of determine your program and things like that. If the programming course is 2 months, and what you're going to do is you're going to learn how to effectively communicate using the things that you like to do. For example, if you're into cars, they can talk about cars. If you're into bowling, they can talk about bowling and center your lessons around stuff that you're interested in versus trying to learn about, let's say, banking if you're not into banking. Right? So there's about 2,000 Japanese letters. There's over 500,000 Japanese words and phrases. And if you try to learn all of them at the same time, you're going to spin your wheels. And at the same time, you guys know out there are kids, when kids grow up, they speak Japanese. They don't go to school. They just speak Japanese naturally from what they hear. So it is possible for us out there to learn different phrases, learn Japanese properly, and apply yourselves in a fashion that you're actually going to learn Japanese the way you want to learn Japanese. So again, that's going to be JLF. Check them out. You're going to enter code Pinku Style JLF. That's, again, Pinku Style JLF when you sign up. And that will help out the podcast, and that will actually get you learning Japanese quicker. So again, check out JapanLanguageFactor.com. Terumi Kai. And you guys will be learning Japanese in no time. Peace. It does, man.
With that SP1200, Pete Rock.
Again, the guys watching right here between these two gentlemen right there, the joint right there. You got you got the buttons on the bottom. You got the faders and the switches. Yeah. That was it. And that, they'll as you zoom in, you guys will see, man. Like they didn't have a lot, but the beat that those classic Primo, Pete Rock, all those old school beats, they all started from SP12 and before. And they didn't have a lot. They didn't have 2 minutes of sample time. Like you had to sample for 10 seconds and then get it done. And then you got all these discs. Now we got, SD cards and all that stuff. And techno, we're not knocking because I don't want to seem like the old dude, the young old dude that's knocking, all that, knocking all the technology because it's cool. But I prefer like I got the one, but I'm like, I'm cool with the 1000.
It's
man.
Appreciation.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you put knocking them down.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're a pro navigator,
yeah,
you might know those C ways better than the person with Google. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because of your knowledge. So.
Yeah. And they my bad. They actually my bad. I made it seem like they actually made that for the nude guys.
Oh,
so
I imagine.
They made it for the touch screen. You can just drag. You don't have to you can just literally. You can literally tap like this on the thing and put your hats there and move them around. So it's really like DAW standalone, but it's a standalone machine. But they made it so
that like a controller.
Yeah, the new cats literally can go on YouTube and be making beats in like within an hour. Versus this one, you have to do some little truncating, stretching. Even with the 1000, it's like new old. And then you go back to the 60 and the 2000 XL. Like you really got to know how to, how to stretch.
Yeah.
How to really make it happen, man, to get that timing right, man.
That's what we were talking about before. Like, I think the one thing that people these days can appreciate, or maybe they're lucky to have this, like truncating out your drums. It's like, you had to get that hi-hat, truncate everything else out.
Yeah.
And, if you're like just a little bit too ahead or too behind, the sound's not gonna come out clearly. And nowadays,
I've actually never used I never used SP12 before.
Oh, SP12.
I think I need to buy one, man.
It's just got 4 different 5-pad decks.
Yeah.
But the only problem with it is like you get 2.5 seconds per channel, or per those channels. So people like Muggs used to have like 5 of them in the studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
From
this drum right here is this is the original SP12
no, that's like the one right before the one that that you would see Pete Rock and those guys using. The one that they had didn't have so much of the blue. It was more like a grayish.
Got you.
And I think this one, there's a few other differences, something with the MIDI and stuff like that. But yeah, that SP12, Dre would say he loves the correction of it, the timing and the correction of it. So like he might do his actual beat on the MP3, but use the SP12 as a controller.
Right.
And that's what I did too. I would sample with my 950 Akai.
Got you.
Because it has 40 seconds of sampling time in it.
Right.
And just use the SP12 to slave that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was really impacted by what you said, the Hulu.
Yeah.
With the
that was automatic watching, like because for me, again, man, it's crazy, man. I'm about to be 40, but and you're older than me, man. So like to come up, like even when I watched the NWA joint, like I wasn't coherent until about like 93. You know what I'm saying? They already all went down. But the Wu joint, I mean, Wu was still early, but the 97, 98, 99, that was my soundtrack walking to school.
For sure.
And then like to know like those dudes spitting on that, like that Ghost the Iron Man tape, man. Like when I played that tape so much it popped. And I actually got it with bootleg from NY, man. My first time in Manhattan, I thought it was real, and the dude's like, that's bootleg, right? I'm like, bootleg? Never knew what a bootleg was. And my first tape was the Iron Man, you know what I mean? But it still looked, they did it up, look real. And
they hooked those things up.
I played that thing so much it popped, man. But like to know like the story behind like Raekwon and Ghost were like mortal enemies at one point.
Seriously,
and then they depicted it, even though Hulu kind of Hollywoodized it a little bit. Yeah. But that was like, man, I ain't know they had a history before that, and like that's why the Hulu was cool, man. Because you got to see like how Meth, they did well.
People could put that aside too, and make moves together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That shows a lot, especially for our community.
Yeah, man.
Because nowadays, being a rapper is kind of like a dangerous profession. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
And to show how they could put those things aside and work as one means a lot. I don't think people talk enough about that or realize that.
Yeah,
you know
man.
What I mean?
It's dope, man. But the music
that's
joint.
the SP12 I had. Right
okay.
There. That's the one that these guys were using most of the time, and that's the one that came after that.
Yeah, my thing is, like I said, I appreciate the new stuff, but I think I started like 90. Like I say, the whole 90s. I grew up in the 90s, man. So like around 90, my first beat I ever made was 2000, Fruit Loops. But I played trumpet, so the physically touching it is something about. And I'm not knocking the new guys that's only on and there's nothing wrong with it. But the thing is, like even if you use it, like you had the hardware experience. A lot of the new cats never touch hardware. Right. So I mean, and I know you guys will speak on it too, where a lot of the guy in it. But I got my uncle's DJ. He's like, dude, I did the crate digging, dude. I got this laptop and these things right here. I'm good. Like I paid my dues on carrying the big milk crates that's like this wide. No doubt. And I remember, man, him doing. He would do V103. He used to go do DJ spots in there with Frank Skis and he's down in all that stuff down. V103 in Atlanta now. Okay. Yeah. So
you play the bass too, right?
No, I played. I self-taught in there a little bit. Okay. But I played trumpet as. I come from playing trumpet in a concert band, but that gave me the reading, timing, time signatures, being able to go from a 4/4 to a 3/4 to an intro at 2/4, and that's the stuff I learned from Witchcom. Being able to get my time signature immediately just by pressing the hi hat. All right, that's 125. I need that to be at 124, but I'm going to play it slower or 76 and then speed it up. And that's where I think a lot of the new cats who ain't got no music background, they don't know how to do that type of stuff. Which then you gotta, the hi hats are all over the place, and or they don't know when to not quantize at all. Like just make it just natural, man.
Yeah, I think people try to do the offbeat thing too.
Yeah,
kind of dillize it. But they might not. Really
they don't know how to. Yeah. Like, it's times when you do it and times when you don't.
I think it's kind of two kind of producers. Like one that's like born from the DJ, which is I am. I'm probably more DJ than I am. Beat maker. That's my heart is at. But like you got your other producers that come as musicians. You know what I mean? Like a Teddy Riley or something.
Yeah.
But Dre was a DJ.
Yeah.
Jermaine Dupri also a DJ.
Yeah.
DJ Premier DJs.
Yeah, man.
And so I come in from that DJ perspective.
Yeah, a lot. Fortunately, man, it's like now with the Instagram and all that stuff, man. A lot of guys kind of, they see all the Kanye drama and all the stuff going on, man. And it's like people who know, like Kanye, for example, as current day Kanye, they don't know about none of this stuff. He did, before the Rock broke up and all that stuff like that. But you would go back in his old videos and he would have like the 2000 XO using a DAW to get more sampling time, like flipping it, really flipping it, because the 2000 couldn't really do the sample time wasn't that long. So we used the keyboard sampling time to sample into that, to sample into the sampler. Wow. And it's like all that stuff, man. So like that's the Kanye that I got to know. And then so all this new crap is like he's just doing this. That ain't got nothing to do with making good music, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's real accessible.
Yeah,
Yeah, I heard legends. I mean, I guess when you think about Kanye, you can't help but think about No ID.
Yeah.
I guess that was his senpai, as they would say.
Yeah,
Like he's the guy.
Yeah.
No ID is the guy.
Yeah.
I guess that Kanye sat around and watched him, for a long time.
Yeah, man.
But I think he used the ASR10 too. That's
the one of the keyboard joint.
Right?
Yeah, the ASR. Yeah, I've seen the ASR. Shit, man.
The thing that's crazy about those things is that they have high-end filters. So, like, if you think about the SP12 and the MPC, those have, like, the low-end filters where you can take all the highs out and you have those 90s, like, bass-heavy things, just the bass running. But the thing about the ASR10 is, like, you could trim out the bottom part and have the highs. That's why you would have, like, RZA with those stringy samples, Alchemist with those stringy samples, the ASR10, bro.
Yeah. So that's the joint. I'm not sure what he's playing there.
I'm sure that's an ASR10.
Yeah, but he would. So essentially, guys, we were just talking about in the thing you see in the video right there. You'll see Kanye with the two. I think it's an XL or two. I think it's XL he's using. So use XL, which guys on the XL got one on in the corner. They have a floppy drive. Then the guys convert those to zip. And then a little bit later, SD cards came out for them, but you had to take out the floppy drive and do some stuff. But they really didn't work properly. So a lot of the guys, they would use the floppy drives and have like a stack of them. But what Kanye did was he actually used that, and then he had the ASR to extend the sample time because the sampler in the 2000 is limited. So this is innovation and user stuff. And for me, man, like for me personally, like all I need is those two. Everything else is kind of for show. I used the one I got from Wiz right there to trigger the FL when I need to. If I want to do something after the fact, like post-production. Like but that joint with the one has its own synthesizer inside of it. So like you just plug a MIDI into it and you just turn on keys and you just man. So the MIDI, the keys and all that stuff, man. Like I literally can throw this whole studio out and just have that one joint with a little mini keyboard.
It's a one man.
That's it. You don't need the mixer. Don't really need them anymore. It make all internal.
Yeah, right.
So your channels are all different. Your stuff that you had to have the. I remember back in the day, if you didn't have the outs on your joint, it's like, nah, man, you ain't doing it.
Mackie,
yeah,
you get your Mackie in. You gotta have the other converters, and then to go into to the effects and all that.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's nice.
FX, like you don't even use them anymore. They're all you just FX1 and then throw the tremolo in there or throw the So I think a lot of the and I kind of I just had a young guy, only 21 years old, sponsor driver, and I was like, I'm about to be 40. You're 21. You just get in the game, and I just gave him some stuff, and I was like, man, learn how to do more with less, man. And that's why, and that applies to anything, man. The guys are just, I got to get all like the gear. I started getting to the gear slut. Honestly, buying a keyboard from Wiz, I didn't need that, but he put it up, and I was like, it's my boy, and it'd be cool to have. Right. And it had pads on it, so I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Like 5 minutes after he listed it and everything, but I literally used it twice.
You might use it again?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, a little cilantro when you're doing your mix, you know what I mean? You never know when.
Yeah. But what I was getting at, man, was like a lot of the cats now, man, they want to have all the bells and whistles. And I'm like, dude, you got the MPCX, you got all this stuff, man, and to be honest, your beats are trash, man.
I mean, what did Russell Simmons say? He said the realest thing you could ever do is have big drum and a rapper. Rap is just that. I feel like, to a certain extent, some of the legendary people, Large Professor, Marley Marl. Like, people don't talk about Marley Marl enough. I guess they say he's the first one to really sample. Like, it's just so incredible. Like, I listen to their stuff sometimes, and I'm just like, first of all, what made you even think of that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, to think that they were doing it, 30, 40 years ago?
Yeah.
These guys, it's just like.
But then, the thing about what I was talking offline, I just remember what I was saying with we was talking about the Victory sample. Right. I forgot the actual song they sampled, but the Rocky joint.
Yes.
So he sampled a Rocky joint, but then like people don't know EP&D sampled the same thing. Yep. Who else sampled it? There was a few other groups that sampled it, and then but the Puff joint was like knocks all the rest of those out. You know what I mean? If because the EP&D joint, like it had that intro was dope. You know what I mean? It had it on there. It was cool. So I like the EP&D. It was like the second one. I don't know. Public Enemy didn't. No, I wasn't Public Enemy. Somebody else sampled that joint. with Puff, but their version, man, just that team that Puff had that we were talking about, like, bro, they just murdered that joint, man.
It's like NASA, like, you know,
Yeah.
when he needs beats, it's like having NASA there.
Yeah.
Like that group of scientists going at your beat.
But people really didn't. Puff is Puff and the whole, you know, dancing and stuff like that. But they really don't really respect Puff for what he did. And that 2 summer, 3 summers, dude, they had all the bangers, man.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. He was a hell of a salesman, yeah. You know? And he was grinding. And I think it's interesting. I was watching a Kid Capri interview. I hope this is okay to say.
It's okay.
But he mentioned how, like, when he did that Something in the Way You Make Me Feel by Stephanie Mills with the Honey Drippers, Future President, that blend, he kind of said, like, you know, Puffy had said, like, that's what kind of launched his whole career. You know, if you think about Mary J. Blige and all that, that was like really like hip hop beats,
right?
With like singing and R&B artists on it.
Yeah.
So like if you think about that time, you know, Puffy was grabbing every you know, kind of like funky R&B sample you can find. You know what I mean? And just flipping it and either having somebody singing or rapping on it.
Yeah.
M2 May, you know, what was it? Cool in the Gang. He even had the Matthew Wilder, you know, Breaking My Stride, that he used for the Ain't Nothing Gonna Hold Us Down. Like he was just grabbing everything.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like when you're in the zone and you're hot. And
yeah.
you know?
I really, it's probably weird to say, man, but I felt like if I would have got into beat making maybe 6 years earlier and touched the MPC soon, I didn't get the MPC until 2007. So this right, my first MPC right here, it like it overnight changed my sound, and it was just being able to physically touch it versus the FL where I just drag and drop and you just click it on the mouse, which again is cool. I think if you got the hardware stuff, like Timberland even say like they done it. And they use this because they're like, I'm old, man. I'll just be on the plane making beats. You already got a catalog forever. So like because I know it was a thing back in the day where if it's made by hardware, keyboard, whatever, it's a different respect. If it's made, the new guys, they could download the DAW and, you know what I mean, everybody's a producer now. And back in the day, I mean, even this little joint right here, let's say 15, about 25 years ago, this is like some studio. You don't have access to like a mixer and stuff like that people had back in the day, a sound booth and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, man, I just think it's kind of changed. But for me, I just like the hardware, and I tried on FL, but it sounded forced and like I was trying to do too much. And when I got the MP, it just back in the day, we used to bang on the tables and lunch, right, and like that, same here. And that's why I kind of, Wiz will tell you, man, when we played at things, I went over to some other dude's house, man, I just play live for hours straight, just with a sample, and just flip it like 30 different ways, turn the pitch up, turn it down.
More like tactile.
Yeah. You know, so then what I'll do is I'll take that, and out of that I'll make 2 beats just from that session, and I can still flip it about 30 different ways, man. So that's just how for the MPC, it just felt natural to me, and it's advanced, but it ain't too like too much going on where you just like you can't learn it all, man.
You got freedom of creativity. Yeah. Maybe with the Fruity Loops, it's just all there.
It's too that's for me. I think seriously, this feeling is going for playing a trumpet, playing a percussion section. Like I just think physically touching the pads and putting the keys where you got to put it, man. For me personally, only me speaking up for myself, man. I just think I just felt like, I mean, I went from my guys being like, yeah, that's cool, just to not hurt my feelings, right. Yeah, to being like, dude, who made that shit?
I've been through that.
Yeah. Like, yeah. It's like, and you know they ain't feeling it. They be like, yeah.
I love that, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get that in Japan.
Yeah.
You know,
I did have one guy. I had one guy. He's like, yeah, man, I ain't, because he was like, you know, on the dip sets and all that stuff, man. Right. And then I just played him a beat. He was like recently, right. And he was like, man, who did that? I was like, that's me. He was like, that's you? He's like, man, I remember that FL shit you made. That shit was. He's like, that ain't gonna lie, man. That's because East Coast. He's like, that shit was whack, man.
You're gonna love that.
Yeah.
Listen, one of the greatest things that ever happened for my DJing skills.
Yeah.
My boy Big Hen.
Yeah.
Telling me, yo, that mix was the wackest shit I ever heard. Like
It's
him
real.
telling
It's
me
real,
that
man.
Was real good for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, because he could have like been like, yeah, that was dope, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
And then talk
and
about
it was
your
real.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I got friends like even my high school friends. He came out to see me in New York. Like my homie Myra, she was like, I was like, so how was the set? Because she knew me in high school. This was like, you know, the lacrosse player and all that. You know,
yeah.
She hadn't seen me DJ, so she came out like, I don't know, I'm like 30 something, and I'm out there DJing. So I was like, what up, girl? And she's like, yo. I was like, so how'd you like it? She said, I didn't really like the way you played the reggae. I was like, all right. You're from Brooklyn.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're happy on.
Pinku Style PS01TS coilovers. These are the first coilovers available by Pinku Style. These are for track and street. Coilovers are going to work for guys who are going to look to tackle the street. We're going to look to tackle the toe gate in a legal way. 32-way adjustable. You have dampening control. You have camera control. Optional for some cars. It's a very smooth process. If something happens, they will honor the 1-year warranty. Pinku Style PS01TS, ready to order right now. See you guys later. Peace.
Reggae in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, all right. So I respect it. You know, it's a good thing. It's
yeah. Yeah. I think, man, that's why I value more people like that around me. You know, and that now with the business stuff and all that stuff going on, man, like, you know, I just had a cat on, man. I was telling him, like, hey, man, like, you know, you're going to see a lot of stuff, hear a lot of stuff from people who's going to try to tell you, like, hey, man, this is how it's got to be. You got to, if you ain't making beats unless you're on a 1000 or the MPC 60, you got to start from MPC 60. Like, nah, dude, I don't want to be limited to 1 minute of sample time and 80 floppy disks. Like, you know what I mean? It's a cool skill, but you know what I mean? A lot of guys they get their groove, they get their way. But what I was saying, man, was like it was cool to have guys like say, man, nah, that wasn't, because if they didn't tell me that, I actually stopped making beats for like a year because I'm like, man, this ain't for me. And then I got up, but then I would see like Ninth Wonder was making like industry level stuff on FL. Yeah. But he only stayed with the FL. It was FPC, which is why I got the MPC. They had it's called Fruity. The Fruity FPC is like the Fruity production center. Okay. So it's the same pads, you would assign them and everything, and then he would play it on the keyboard. Okay. And he would, you know, this but it had the key. Same timing. Yeah. So you load up your sample on there, and you would use like your ABC would be like your which column you trigger it. So he would just play it out like that, just play the samples out and just do his thing. And that was like FPC. Let me go on eBay, and that's eBay. I got this off eBay. I was in Iraq when I got this. So this joint's been in Iraq 3 times. Wow, that's crazy. I made beats in Iraq with a headset, and you know, just making beats in the middle of Iraq, dude.
I don't know how you could relax and do that, you know.
That was the relaxing, man. Like I'm talking about after this getting shot at, you know what I mean? I'm out there. As a result of Iraq, I got to rebuild this because it got sand all in the it doesn't trigger.
It's a special kind of person to be there and be able to pull out.
Like, so that joint, I got that joint from Hard Off for like $200, and I did. So this one has the pink joints. Those are NPC stuff. Those are the new age the separate pads. Mm-hmm. So this was, you know, this is all like one joint, and you would break. I beat this one to death. So like literally none of these work. I got to bang on it to get it to trigger.
Can you
They got you just it's like $120, and they come with, so each on that one they're all separate. So I literally you literally touch it, and you just got from like 1 up to like 125 on the Timbri. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man. So that one, I mean, I can really like just, I don't got to bang on it. I can just play it, and they're also thicker. So I got those in there. Then one thing I don't like about the one is how thin they are. Yeah, I don't really live on that one because I don't want to break it.
It's almost like keyboard thin.
Yeah,
like keyboard, right?
But they're sensitive though. Okay. And then I've actually never. I need to fix one of my 2000s because I actually never did the live joint. They're all spaced out, and I like those, man. So they're pretty cool.
My experience with the MPC was actually just the Akai 950, and that was just slaved by the SP12. So in other words, like all your sounds are coming through there, and you're just assigning them to the pads on the SP12, and then just controlling it there.
Got you.
But it was nice. It had 40 seconds worth of sampling time.
Yeah.
You know, at the time it seemed pretty popular. I guess certain people were using it, like Q-Tip, and you know, other people. I thought like, well, you know, if they're making it work, let me try it. You know, it was reasonable.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, maybe $700.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad at the time.
Yeah.
But that SP cost me like 15 at the time.
Yeah, man. Thinking about the hula joint, man. He stole the stole the machine and then took it back, and then like back then, man, it was like because they had the Sam Goodies yeah. And I remember going like that, dude. Like I remember they had one at Aeon is gone because I went there to get a MIDI cable. Straight, just no music store there.
Before they had one here.
Yeah, they had one in Masawa because they had a. I would just stop in there to see if there's a new machine or something in there, and then I went there and bought some MIDI cables, and I had to go to Hachinohe to a little store, man, and they were in the back on the wall like dusty, like these kids don't even know what MIDI cables or it's like they don't need them. They don't need them now. It's USB.
Speaking of that Sam Goody, I like the way that they talked about Easy Mo B in there.
Yeah.
I think Easy Mo B is one of the guys who's made the most out of the SP12. Like DJ Quick too.
Yeah.
Like those guys, they really, and Pete Rock, they really made that machine sing,
But I think, to be honest, man, I'm not jealous of it because remember we got out your boys out there. My boys are going to be in the next group or whatever, and I'm glad to have been born at that. Like you lived it more than I did, being in NY, man. And I kind of grew up with that as so I guess that's why that East Coast flavor. Like I respect the new trap stuff, and some of it do sound really cool, but like that boom bap, it's that sound, man. That sound is what I grew up on, and then you got the laundry list of to include RZA and all those guys and how he came up, and RZA style, like they really like the Wu. Was really I got a tattoo. People lie. I got a Wu tattoo on my arm. Got covered up, but that was my first tattoo. Was a Wu Tang tattoo.
Whoa,
yeah, because it wasn't because I was like I wasn't no crazy fan. I just the music, the beats.
You played the tape till it popped.
Yeah, and what they were saying, man. And I used to just draw the Wu Tang. And I was like, my boy. We went to the dude's house. I didn't know he was getting a tattoo. He's like, you want to get one? Yeah. And he was like, what you want? I was like. Shit, all I drew was Wu all day, so I got it because of that.
I see you got the lacrosse thing too.
Oh yeah, I got the lacrosse joints. Yeah, so the Wu, it's the Wu one. It's the one that used to be broken up.
Right.
So the only reason I covered it up is not because I'm ashamed of it, but as I got older, I was like, man, that don't. It's not really a. What I mean? It's like if I get Aerosmith on my head, it's like, what are they doing for me?
Fanboy.
Yeah. So I was like, nah, let me cover that up and everything, man. But I mean, for you, man, like far as the. We talked the music and everything, man. What was your? It's just kind of late to break it up, but what was your influence into like making music or getting into DJing or whatever, man?
Well, making bass is fun, and it's like I guess it's a natural progression from DJing, but really like where it started for me was really DJing. I grew up in the Bronx.
Right.
Well, I was born in the Bronx and I lived there until I was about 10.
Right.
And I remember at the age of 6 or 7 going out to the park, and you see the jams there, and people out there, and I would sneak out there, my cousins out there, smoking and stuff, and I'd be seeing it going down, and like around that time, 7, 8, I would putz around with records. You have the little record player with the little 45 discs. Yeah. And I remember playing like a lot of like Staying Alive and stuff like that because it had the Red Cow on it. I had a lot of 45s like that with that little label on there. But that I couldn't really say that was the DJing yet. In high school, I had one of my good friends. He used to have a lot of cutout parties at his house that we used to go to. And he was a big weed smoker. And I didn't really do that at the time. So I needed something to do. So I would just like take the 2 cassettes and I'd be DJing like those little parties there. But I couldn't even really say that was a DJ. And it really started for me the DJing seriously is like when I got to college and I started playing for the radio station. Yeah. And that's when I really started to like think about it seriously and take it seriously, and like I was just really fascinated by it. I mean, everything I did before that, 8 years old, playing Herman, Kelly, Dance to the Drummer's Beat 1,000,000 times on the record player, stuff like that, Stephanie Mills records, Two Hearts and all that, just playing records. But I wasn't really spending like, but when it's in college about 91 is when I really.
See, you said 91, man. Yeah, so you already, damn, you dad. I don't want to put your age out there if you want to, man. But yeah, it's like 91. Shit,
with that.
Yeah, 91. I was, I was like, mom, shit. I don't know. I'm not good in the math, man. But yeah, man, it's like you. So that's what I'm saying, man. You were coherent. You were doing it, making it happen on that time frame, man. And it's like a lot of. I don't get on the whole thing about like dudes should like know their history, but a lot of guys, like a lot of the young guys in all facets, music, cars, everything, they got this encyclopedia, man.
Yeah.
And they don't even, and they be asking you, I'm like, dude, like Google that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you asking me about, like, bro, if I need to find something out, I just go in here and find it out. And it's like, they don't even do it. And I don't know if it's the way they've been, how they've been raised. It's like, they only care about now and then. They don't know about the Roman Empire. They don't know about Alexander the Great. Yeah. They don't know about stuff that's just repeating itself over and over. And, I mean, I think I was in that time when my uncle was, hey, man, go read that. The book is outdated. It's 1972 encyclopedia, but still, it's still some knowledge in there.
Knowledge is knowledge.
So we got punished, man. They would make us like read the encyclopedia, man.
Really.
And
when you say we,
I mean back cousins and things back coming up, we go fight. Like, hey, man, my grandma had this cover of encyclopedias, and they were like at least like 80, maybe 85, 86 edition. So I mean, outdated. But, you know what I mean? It was, like, still knowledge in there. So I think that's what changed my mindset, man. And, like, that's what got me into, like, history. So, like, I'm really into, like, the, samurai joints and the medieval times. And, like, I just like you say, watching the joints on Netflix because it's, like, the documentaries are so well done and the reenactments, like, you feel like you're in the Edo era.
Yeah.
And, like, the dude's got the hairstyles, eyebrows. He got the top knot joint and the...
Right.
It's like and that all, when I'm making a long circle, man, it's like all that, like I go back and I listen to that stuff and I sample like that type of stuff and I bring that stuff into it because I'm like, man, 50 years from now, man, somebody's gonna watch this podcast and they just get into music and they want to get SP12 and it's like 2085.
It's like a part of maybe where your sounds come from is part of who you are.
Yeah.
Like, certainly my DJing for me is part of what I am. Like when I was about, I guess 11, I was like in a group home. Think about it like a reform school kind of thing, and it was upstate New York. So that's where I'm hearing the Thompson Twins. You know what I mean? Joe Jackson stepping out. I'm hearing all those rock records. Dream On. Aerosmith. I'm hearing those records, right? And then like and then in 5 years before that, it's like Square Biz. 3 years before the Square Biz and Denroy Morgan, All I Can Do For You. Yeah. Then in high school, it's like when I'm going to lacrosse games, I'm listening to the De La Soul album and Synchronicity by the Police. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And some of my friends in school put me onto like Depeche Mode. One of my best friends in high school used to always like to ask me to sing I'm Gonna Do You from the Jungle Brothers. So I've always, like, my life has always been tied into music. I have friends in high school who put me on the Violent Femmes. It's when I started playing lacrosse that I learned about Led Zeppelin. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like your life. My life has definitely influenced, like, my musical taste in a sense. And that's why, like, I play across the genres now. Yeah.
And that's dope, right? I smile when you mention that, the Led Zeppelin and everything, because that, I didn't realize, it's crazy how life is, man. And that's one thing about this podcast. It's not going to be too much longer, but it's like, it's hard to put everything you've done in your life and everything I've done and Wiz have done down there in the chair, it's culminated to like this moment, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy how that works out, man. It's like all the trials and tribulations and whatever, man. But I remember my dad stayed with the grandma and everything, man. And he would put it on the rock channel and like, I didn't realize, man, like that's what he liked to sleep to. You know what I mean? We being there before we crash out. And then and he had to, back then, I guarantee if you turn that radio, he had to, the joint with the big mixer and everything and his big speakers. And those things still sound good to this day. Right. I mean, like, the quality is up. I mean, that's the little mixer I'm using right there. Mm-hmm. Like that joint, I got it from a secondhand store. That thing's probably like a 92 or 3. And it works. I just use it as a switch. It switches over from the, from the PC to all that stuff. And that thing worked just as good. I just had to put a grounding because the grounding was, So it's quiet. So right now, it's quiet.
Oh, to cut down the noise, right?
Yeah, so rock, in particular, like rock, I sample a lot. I sample guitar heavy and a lot of orchestra stuff because I played in a band. Yeah. So like the orchestra hits me different. So like if you look at a lot of my samples, rock, orchestra, And then I get into it because I'm in Japan, the Japanese anime OST original soundtrack, because nobody looks, and that catalog is just ridiculously deep.
Those Lupin
Dude.
Songs, yo, and those are ill, yo.
Dude.
I haven't had the time to even like, you know what I mean, try to like download them or anything. But
Yeah.
crazy.
Do you when I like to ask a lot of my guys who do create, man, do you get a now do you feel like oversaturated with like too much content out there now to sample from? If you know what I mean?
When it was funny, like I was looking at Hit Boy's some of his history, and like, you know, one of the records he did for Kendrick Lamar had like samples from like some anime and different things. I think there might be a oversaturation of everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, in a sense, to a certain extent, you know, just because it's there doesn't mean you have to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but then again, it can be nice too, because you can get things you might not even thought about.
Right.
So I think it's just like, you know, you go to a smorgasbord, you can eat till you're sick.
Right.
Or you eat a whole bunch and you come back another day. So it's kind of like, just because it's all out there doesn't mean you have to absorb it all. Some people are going to do good with it.
Right.
You know, words can be daggers or they could be flowers. So it's all on how people use it too. And, you know, I think it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Because things are going to get even more overexposed and more accessible.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like you should. I mean, you can make a beat. I mean, they got the little MVC on the phone. And like, it's cool, but it's like, I don't think it's gonna be a while before they. I mean, they got the which does work, the iPad thing, because I know Dre even like the little thing with that.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I think.
Yeah. So I mean, now it's like the hardware stuff is gone. I mean, it's now virtual. Like one thing, VSTs, I will say, when they first came out, became popular, VSTs. I'm like, man, I don't know about that. And the VST actually is what I put into Fruity Loops net, because the stock stuff is like, you can tell when the beat was made from the stock stuff, because it's a stock cymbals, stock hi-hats. Right. When the VST, I'm like, that blew my mind. I'm like, the orchestra, and like, this is virtual instruments. And
some of them are hard.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
And another thing too, you can load. This VST is already in it from the factory, and you can load whatever you want. So if you don't got the piano you want in there, VST in it, you can literally upload it right from the Wi-Fi, Ethernet, or the man, and then you just plug your keyboard up, and you got a full.
You can airdrop it into the.
That's it's Ethernet, Ethernet, USB, or you got 3 different methods to update it, and you can plug it into the network. I keep it offline. I don't want it to be like connected to the internet. So stuff like that. But man, so it's essentially a smartphone beat maker. Right. It's for the new kids, man. And they got it's all colorful, and it does. You know what I mean? When you after we, I'll
ASR like that too. It's called ASR X.
After we get done, I'll key up some of the stock stuff, the pre-samples, and it's like you can hear you can tell it's for the new kids, man.
But I wish first of all, we didn't really get a chance to talk about lacrosse and stuff.
Yeah.
Common, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about this.
Yeah, you should sticks all over the place. Yeah.
In Japan.
Yeah.
Both lacrosse guys.
Yeah.
Right. Both in the music. Right. Now you're into your motorsports.
Yeah.
And that's your business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we didn't even get a chance to really talk about lacrosse. And that, but maybe that's for another time.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to make sure that I don't think people understand in Japan, as far as the clubs, like what I experienced as far as like going to clubs in New York City in 1986.
Yeah.
Like
the real.
Yo,
you got
like, Don, you go to these places.
Yeah.
Like you walk up to the door. Let's take Mars, for example. Mars was a club that was 4 floors high. One floor you had house, one floor you had hip hop, one floor you had reggae. The hip hop floor was called Trip. There used to be Duke of Denmark, Clark Kent, and DJ Stretch Armstrong up there.
Oh, Armstrong.
The 4th floor was the house. Now, to get into this place, you couldn't just walk up. You walk up with 80 of your boys, you're not getting in, unless you got like Michael Jackson with you or something like that. Like, you had to be dressed a certain way. You'll come up with sneakers, they'd be like, no sneakers. You see a dude walk in with sneakers, you'd be like, yo, what's up? Like, you had to dress a certain way and everything. Like, I think the people here don't understand that culture. Like, It was so dope, man.
Oh yeah.
You had to have a laminate to get into some of these places. Like that culture, it's gone now.
Yeah.
The bottle service, basically. But that thing about New York was what really got me into loving music, man, and being out and around music, man. That experience. And we can talk about it a little bit more some other time.
Yeah,
like,
for sure, man.
You know, that kind of culture came back from the days of like Paradise Garage, where you used to be able to get a laminate like twice a year or something like that. And if you didn't get it, you couldn't get in. You know what I'm saying? And, like the clubs in New York were so dope, man. You know, and you know, 88, 89, you didn't hear a lot of hip hop in the club. You were lucky if you heard Flavor of the Month. You know what I'm saying? By Black Sheep.
Right.
And maybe you might hear, you know, Ghetto Heaven, Family Stand, and you know, Tom's Diner was huge. And you might hear, you know, Words I Manifest. But like these clubs, like these big clubs, like the Red Zone and whatnot, you see Puffy in there and all that. It was house. It was house music. You know what I mean? So it was just a feeling and something that's kind of gone. But you know, didn't matter how much money you had.
Yeah.
You walk up with a suit and your corporate thing, it didn't help you at all.
Yeah.
That club thing is kind of like what I come from, and you had to play the music right too. If you don't play the music right in New York, you're not getting any light. Yeah. So like these days, I guess people have different platforms, but like if you didn't know how to play your records, you're not getting on, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I come from that.
You know, it was more of a time where it was more valid. Like it's kind of like just like, you know, you got the video playing in the background here, and this is an Asian guy, Japanese look like, I can't tell, I think like Japanese, but like, dude, I people, you know, being black men, man, and seeing how you know, and we bring it up to a young guy, and you tell like they hit the Elvis thing, the Elvis, I guess my documentary came out. I didn't watch it yet, but I just brought up a thing. I was like, you know, I mean, the one guy I was just like randomly, it wasn't even a reason to say it, but I was like, you know, I mean, you know, he stole like a lot of black dudes, you know, this and blah blah blah. And I'm like, and he's like, nah, man, I don't think. I'm like, bro, not only he did, they all did, like all that shit, all that stuff that you seen that was popping, that was from black artists that didn't have the, like now you didn't have the lawyers to clear the samples, so that's for J. Cole. That's what happened. It's one of his boys right there off the camera, man.
Oh,
but
man.
yeah, it's like it's video bombing.
Okay, yo,
you're more Scotia, man. More Scotia.
Yo, we're in the next year, man. You just gotta hit the road.
Yeah, you can't come in the club, man.
Stop playing.
Yeah, but the It's all good. It's all good,
Chili
man.
Willy. Sorry
Yeah, it's all good. It's all
There
good.
you go bananas. Yeah, I don't know how to act. Yeah.
Yeah, got the future DJs in here, man.
Yeah.
But
he just did a rap song actually.
Oh yeah.
Like random. I'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
It was funny.
But what I was saying, man, was like, you know, the influence of hip hop, and like now, I mean, it's like everything, man. Like people like not they it's like one point they didn't want to hear us, and then they had to accept it. Like, you know, hip, like, you know, when people tell me, oh man, that Kanye, whatever, what they do, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give you this record and it's MPC, show me nothing.
Word.
Show me. I'm like, dude, they don't realize that whole early mid 2000s was all from an MPC 2000 XL with an ASR, and like they have no idea. I'm like, yeah, you know that joint you bobbing your head, that was a Akai MPC, or the RZA with the Roland 88 MVA, because it was like he chose the Roland because it did certain things, and it was dope. I tried the Roland, but I didn't like the other software you had to have with it to use it. So it was like a standalone, but you needed that system to use it. But you can use it without it, but it wouldn't be as crisp. So I never got the Roland. I just wanted to get one, you know what I mean? Because that's what RZA made a lot of beats on. But what I'm saying, man, like in a nutshell, like the influence of hip hop, man, across all genres of everything, I think is, to me personally, me being biased, man, one of the most influential genre of music. And you hear trap music now in Hollywood movies and commercials, and you know, even a lot of the white cats now. I just got the dirt bikes, right? And a lot of the cats used a lot of their music on their thing is heavy hip hop.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, and they're all white dudes, but it's like that just flows well now. It used to be all rock, but now it's like straight trap.
I don't think there's anything else that has exploded as much.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like
multicultural.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you could go to like the Eon Mall over here and get a Run DMC t-shirt a few years ago. I think they stopped it, but like, yeah, like, and you know, dance is real popular here. Like,
Yeah,
Japanese dance schools and hip hop dance, and you'll see kids like, you know, they got Kangos, and they got this whole look, and it's funny, but you know,
dude,
no,
I know what you're saying.
like, and then their parents is like, you feel how about black people?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah. Like, I was telling Wiz one time I went down to we were in Amori, man. We were just in Amori by up at the joint. There was a festival, and it was straight up hip hop. And like, dude, I'm like sitting there, and like I had this stupid grin on my face. I'm like, dude, I'm in most northern part of Japan, and the biggest city. And like they're like, it's like somebody whoever made the beats were NPC style. And I'm like, dude, I'm in Japan, bro. And I'm listening to hip hop. And they don't really even know what they just dancing. They have no idea. The words are like F this, F that. I'm like, and the grandma's just there laughing. Like, they don't know what it. They don't know what it's saying, but it's like.
But they were feeling it.
Yeah, they're feeling it. And then every once in a while they look over at you because they want to see that, you know, I was nodding my head a little bit. Then they see, oh, it's a black dude appreciating us, appreciating hip hop. And it kind of validates that, man. So one thing I want to do, man. I mean, I know offline we mentioned some things about you guys moving and stuff like that, possibly. But one thing I want to get into, man, and connect with, and you gave me the stickers from the dude down at WitchCon, man, is like, I want to, even though cars consumes me, I want to do like an NPC, just open. I know they do them because I've seen the videos. I'm like, dude, not being overconfident and cocky, but I would kill that shit.
Yo,
you know what I mean? Like,
the first people I ever seen do, like the first time we met, I was DJing, and you were doing a live. And I can still play that right now. And like, this is the joint. Like my homeboy Ebbs, who's a good friend of mine from Brooklyn. Like I seen him go to like beat making competitions.
Yeah,
which kind of blew my mind at the time.
Right.
I heard of like, you know, like mic, you know, open mic nights.
Yeah,
but this was like open beat nights.
Yeah,
like people coming and he.
That's what I want to get, man.
So like other than him, you're the first person I see, and it bugged me out because like you were doing it live.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really seen that at the time.
Yeah.
And like it was crazy because I asked you, yo, do you mind if I put some scratches in there?
Yeah.
I think we got some video of it outside. But I didn't want to mess up what you was doing too.
No, man, that was dope, man, because it's like I always wonder how, like, you know, a rapper or somebody could just start spitting something they made back in '92 just like off the rip. And it's like, dude, they made that. So like, even though they're all gray, that's one cool thing about the new one. You can actually color code, so you can have your hi-hats green. So that's for the new cats who ain't got attention span. But I know where I put my hi-hats and my percussion in the same zones, and I could press the keys and I'm like, oh, okay, I remember where it was and play it the same way. And it's weird, and it's just
it sticks with you.
Yeah, it sticks with you, man. And like I got all those, and those two cards right there contain pretty much every beat I did. On those two cards. That's it. Wow. So I've made copies of them just in case.
Hundreds.
Yeah. Because because I don't even though I have the ability to sample, my samples are like 30 seconds. Right. I get some extravagant ones where I really like stretch it out, and that's like a special project. And then so I mean, I'm going into like fourth bank. I got one beat that I went into the fourth bank, and it was what a Oscar Grammy nominated composer, and I wanted to really make this like, you know, I just didn't want to chop the song up. I just added beat snares to it, right. And we did a little bit of stuff together. I might hit him up to see what's up with some collaboration, but for the most part, I do everything in one bank, two banks if I'm trying to put like some sound effects in it. But I like I say, man, I got the new technology, but I kind of like watch the videos of Premiere and rocking on them and like kind of. Because I think the beats are better, man, when you just keep it simple.
You ever sample of any of your own beats?
I thought about it, but I never. Yeah,
I've been thinking about that lately because you know stuff from years ago, and it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
you just gotta update it a little bit.
Actually, no, my bad. I did for the FL. I made it, and I found an old CD. Yeah, and I was kind of getting it, like kind of understanding how to put it together. Intro, standard beat, standard bar, construction, and I went back and remade it with the MPC, and it was like a lot better because I learned more, and yeah, so I did.
Know the parameters of how to manipulate the sound.
Yeah, back then I didn't know the structure, and then also I didn't know that you don't have to stick. You can put the chorus in the beginning to get everybody popping, and then go into the main thing. And then I noticed also too, one thing I do now, because I'm an unknown beat maker, even though I know I've had enough people tell me it sounds cool. Kind of get the beat popping as soon as possible, versus leading up, and like nobody's gonna listen to your stuff that long unless it's a beat maker that I appreciate. So when I listen to the beat makers, I listen to the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, I heard that little which can we put in there that you can't hardly hear it, but I know it's there.
I think that that thing that I always think about, that thing that Dr. Dre said, like within 8 seconds if you're gonna like the song or not. Another thing too, like years ago, and I think this applies to beat makers. Like it was his birthday, and a friend of mine was DJing his birthday party, but I just happened to we go and talk to DJ Premier, and I was like, hey man, if you had to give any advice to somebody, what would it be? I was like 23, 24,
right.
You know what I mean? Like I was getting started DJing in New York City, and I didn't feel like uncomfortable just asking him that.
Right.
And he was cool about it.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, dog. He's like, just whatever you do. He's like, first of all, just because people are doing A, B, and C, because that's popular, doesn't mean you have to do that. That's one thing he said. The second thing he said was like, whatever you do, just make sure like a Jermaine Dupri, a Dr. Dre, or someone like myself will do this. If you do that, you're good. And I took that to heart. I just felt like, all right, just make sure like you're gonna do this.
Yeah. And not to be again, I think one thing people confidence is confidence, man. But I gotta I got to organize it, but I gotta just random thinking, man. I'm in here like now with the kids and everything. I kind of come here and do my thing, and it's like I got a handful of beats that I know, like, hey man, show me, like, hey, play your top 10 right now, and industry guys come in here, and I got for sure 10 to 20 beats where I know, like, where I wasn't experimenting too much. I kind of kept it to that golden era hip hop and not copying their style,
right? Just
doing my thing. But then, like, kind of you could tell, hey man, you can't help but not get influenced by Pete Rock and Premier and JD, and kind of like comedians say they don't listen to other comedians because they don't want to think about their set in their mind.
Consciously, into your
So I got for example my hi-hat, the way I do my hi-hats and the way I don't just do like hi-hat, next track. I actually play that live, man. So I take the live joint and put it into there. So when the quantize is actually me playing live on a quantize.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 40, 50 beats ago, I just started doing it. So I just play the sample, and then the Witchcom is all one track. It's not separated. And then I just do that take 7 times to switch up the hi-hat, the double tap, and then I would do it like that.
Drop stuff out,
yeah. So I drop stuff out and then use the mute live to make it sound like it's different. So that's what I do, man. Because I was like, man, I got tired of doing like me personally. One track hi-hat, next track kick, next track snare. Like, let's put it all on the same track. And it took the first. It was rough in the beginning because the quantizing was off, and then I just turn quantize off and I play it live while the sample's going, and then re-quantize it, and it comes out.
That's a lot like DJing in a way, because when you're DJing, you're just trying to get a bunch of different records to
right.
go together.
I've never blended anything in my life, man. So like,
but when you make those beats, you're basically blending.
Yeah, but people, what I'm saying is, guys like Paris Hilton's a DJ now, and this is, and everybody's a DJ. DJ is like it's like the fad thing to now, because now ain't nobody carrying crates. Now they got a laptop and a controller, and what I mean, back in the day, if you were a DJ, you was lugging those crates. You was tapping into the power pole, and to get the
right.
What I mean.
Yeah. Yo, listen, man. I started with the Technique FG servos.
Yeah.
Which was like the straight arm and the rubber band, I guess, pulling it, and like you had to put the nickel.
To hold it.
Yeah, for real. And it was like house party. When somebody danced too close to your thing, the record skips.
Yeah.
I started with those, man. I did that for like 6 years, bro.
Like this joint that the guy got what he's using in the middle, like, is this like what type of?
That's a pretty standard Vestax mixer. Yeah. It looks like a 4-channel mixer, like a Vestax, but that's not like really like a like for turntablists and whatnot, because you see how wide it is.
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, the turntablists, they want to juggle the two records, so they
Right.
need like a more narrow mixer so they could access both records more freely. This guy, he's probably more like blending. He might be doing some light scratching, but he's not a turntablist or like a beat juggler. You can tell
Right,
just from
right,
that
right,
mixer.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So
but-
he's probably just, this is more like a loungy type probably.
yeah, even his joint got that lounge,
Yeah,
like
I'm sure.
got that. I mean, let me turn it up a little volume.
But at least he's playing records, unlike, you know.
I'm all of that shit because I'm down with main source. That's the little rumor these motherfuckers to spread. Because I won't get on down and all of that shit, man. Well,
Just want to hear what he's playing a little bit, but yeah, man, it's but yeah, but again,
Sound like
man,
it'd be some
but again, man, it's like that, and that's one. But I do for as much boom bap type stuff as I got, man. I got some experimental like stuff, man. But it's still within that same, you know, it keeps that same thing, man. But yeah, man, it's those horns. You know, got the horns in there. You got the this in there. You got that in there, and then the bass line is simple. But one thing I watched a Pete Rock joint, and he was saying, hey man, he was like, let the sample do as much as you can for you. Like, I mean, if it has bass in it, that's one thing you ain't gotta do now.
I never
So
thought about that.
yeah, so a lot of my joints, I got that natural bass, but it sounds, the bass is already in the track, but it sounds like you're keying it, but I'm not keying it. I'm not. So what I do on this one for the samples, I actually know how to when you fit, so it doesn't sound like a sample when the clipping. So none of my stuff clips. I not crescendo, but you kind of goddamn, what's it called, man?
Not layering.
Attack. So the attack and
Right,
attack and decay.
Right.
I make the wave on this one. You're doing it here where it ramps up really quickly. That way you never hear the clip.
I see.
You never hear the clip, man.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
kinda
yeah,
like,
yeah. It goes smooth, so you don't get that abrupt
Right.
clip, and that's the guys like, man, how you sample that, but it don't sound like you chopped it.
See, I think that's the thing. That's analog. See, like,
Yeah.
From working from the analog
Yeah.
machines, that's why you wouldn't know that. I think if you were working strictly from the DAW.
Yeah,
I mean, you might, because some of these guys are really like, you know, talented with it too.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
That's one of I think the advantages of having come from an analog.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Background.
yeah, man.
know?
You see all that stuff there, man. But man, we can get into stuff for
brother.
days, man. We definitely got to get up more, man. Like so, like before we get out though, man, real quick, man. Lacrosse joint. Are you still doing the Because I know you were doing the joint at the thing with the kids. Is that still?
It started like at that school.
Yeah.
At that school in Tohoku, the
Yeah.
private school. You know, created the girls team there first time.
Mhm.
Created a boys team there for the first time. Did that for coached there for about 7 years.
Mhm.
I don't think that there's another that's in history. I don't know how many Americans came.
I was just talking about
to
my dude, man.
or black men.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think it's special.
Yeah,
Now that thing, I tried to get youth lacrosse going here.
dude.
It's
dude,
been real tough.
I was just telling my dude, like, bro, I know they killed on to baseball, and for whatever reason they clung to baseball. I know the baseball came over here when the war and the Americans came over here and introduced it to them.
Right.
I'm like, bro, I think if lacrosse caught on, like, dude, they would absolutely, like, I think it would rival baseball.
Actually, the Japanese team did really well against America this year. They almost it
Really?
was like, yeah. I think like early on they were doing really well.
Yeah,
I think we're down.
right.
So let me just say though, that as living in the lacrosse community here in Japan,
Yeah,
what's missing here is everything you look at now is about club. So if you go to like Instagram and you see the clubs, it's all about the club teams and whatnot and college.
right.
But in America, it's like, you know, we're pushing from the youth.
Mm.
So it's like what needs to happen here is like you need 9, 10, 11,
Right,
12,
right.
13-year-olds playing. I'm
So-
sorry to say, but I've seen nothing here in this country in that. And I've been here for 12 years now, and I started lacrosse here for the first 7. And there are 5 boys high school teams in this country. One of them came from me, which means there was 4 before that. About 40 women's teams, I guess 39 before I made the one. So what I'm saying is like, there's a lot of emphasis on club play here, meaning like people who are in their 30s.
Older,
and
right,
you know
right,
what I'm
right.
saying? But like, as far as the youth, like nothing happening. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I talked to a guy.
They feel like do they feel like it's a little bit probably too violent?
I mean, hey, kendo.
Yeah,
and
exactly. Judo, yeah,
you know,
you're getting thrown.
karate.
Yeah.
I knew a girl from the school I work at broke her back
Oh,
doing karate.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So like, come on. I mean,
yeah.
and I think the reason is there's only 5 high school teams and 40 girls lacrosse teams in the country. It could have something to do with like liability or
Right.
insurance. But at the same time, I mean, you get hit in the head with a baseball, right? You know, rugby's been very popular here, right?
Yeah.
But why? Because it's on TV in Australia, and who knows,
Right.
You know, but I do have to say, if they need to do more in the youth here because they have the work ethic
Right.
here to get better.
I just know. I just know it'll pop, man. I know it'll be.
Sure.
Like you say, getting there with the youth and everything and stuff like that. And then, like you said, the youth is important with everything. Like my boys just start doing dirt, and that reason why I'm saying it because they're gonna do jiu-jitsu, judo, and dirt bikes. But it's like it kind of sucks. It's like they're gonna be here and it's like, man, they'll never play JV football. You know what I mean?
Right,
Unless I get them on a base, which I don't really want to. I'm good with that.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? But it's like they'll never. Not saying experience the American part of it, but like, you know, in us, man, being from we happen to be born on it because it's like you got East Coast. I just had my guy on a couple of podcasts ago. He had started a team down in Florida, and then he's taking lacrosse from Baltimore to Florida, and then he went over to California. And Northern California has a good scene.
I'm hearing about that.
And it's like a pocket though, but also if you take your stick outside of there, like, man, what do you got in your hand? They never seen it before.
That's the way it was in Brooklyn
And
in the 80s.
yeah, man. So they got then the hula joint meth walking around like they cheesing about the stick and everything like that, man.
That's like another thing I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Like I think that we need to get. First of all, like when I coached in the U.S.,
Yeah.
my thing wasn't like I'm not an X's and O's guy. I'm a guy who can maybe motivate you,
Right.
and make you love the game and make you want to do something you think you couldn't do.
Right.
That was me. I wasn't an X's and O's guy because I came in as an athlete.
Right.
You know, I came from basketball and track to lacrosse.
You tackle midfield.
I was a midfielder.
Okay.
So I came in as an athlete, so I couldn't like my stick skills were okay. They got better toward the end. But I
Right.
was an athlete. You
Right.
couldn't stand in front of me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But so my thing when I was teaching these kids is like, it wasn't like I was trying to only like make the best players in the world. I was trying to get you into college.
Right.
Now what I'm saying is like, I wish that Method Man and certain people, like maybe even a Jay-Z, will get more involved with youth in these neighborhoods, in our communities. Can you imagine Michael Jordan with a stick in his hand?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, some of the greatest
Imagine Barry Sanders.
some of the
Yeah,
biggest,
it's
some
like
of the greatest athletes you've ever seen. Can you imagine them
Bo
with
Jackson,
buckets?
Jim Brown
man.
had one, you know, but it was like but it was like lacrosse, yeah, but they never really touched on Syracuse and Jim Brown, and like it was like, man, it's like lacrosse is like when the coach told me, he was like, you're not, you know, you play basketball, you play baseball, you probably play a little bit of soccer, man, like it's all that smashed into one, plus you could hit people. And it was like I could hit people, and that's why. So I was a defender.
Yeah,
but that
long stick, right?
Yeah, I was long stick. But by the last year, I was taking the ball all the way down, and I scored.
Well, who's gonna stop?
Yeah,
you?
I scored twice.
It's like
yeah. But I could go left and right with the stick.
Yeah,
and I'm talking about vertical cradle, and that's because I Johns Hopkins is right there by Greenmount.
Right.
And I actually got to play on Johns Hopkins. I played on the field. And this is from a kid from Baltimore. We won championships, but I played club lacrosse in Maryland, and we went and played Annapolis at the Navy and all that. And they were like, hey man, we don't really do tryouts, but but just do your thing, and by the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you're part of the team now.
Yo, where you come from with lacrosse?
Yeah.
Like
they were shocked that I can go left and right and actually vertical cradle and throw and everything. And he's like, man, you city? I'm like, yeah, dude, we like, bro, the flashiness, the behind it. I'm talking about, we would sit there and go behind it back. And my coach hated it, but we were up like 20 points.
Right.
Behind it back, behind it back, behind it back, behind it back, behind it back goal. Yeah. Just just that flavor that honestly, the black lacrosse, because the white dudes hated it because they would just the standard, throw it around, top, somebody pick, screen, and they'll score. And we just had that fundamentals, flash, and everything. And honestly, we lost, and the playoffs wouldn't matter because that flashiness they just fundamentally score more goals in this.
Right. I mean,
yeah. So we won the city championships, but when we get to that, the dudes who are going to Syracuse and the Terps, and all that.
Lacrosse IQ is no joke. And that's not just like it wasn't just like. I mean, some of these guys, have guys who've been in those situations tons of times.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Only
You know?
they're once they got past the aggression part and they learn how to make us miss hits and they run around a little bit more tired because their cardio was a little bit better.
Right.
So they're just running around and have you going around and then they're tired and the guy gets in there and everything, man. So
we used to have something called the Empire State Games in New York City, and it was basically like 6 different areas of New York coming together for about a week and a half at some university in New York. So I remember for me in 1987, it was like, I think it was Syracuse University. Kenny Anderson was on that team for the basketball because he got all sports. It was like an Olympics basically. And you had your Western, New York City, Long Island. Long Island's like Maryland for lacrosse. Long Island is like the badass lacrosse players.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget like I was fast, so I would be running past people. I remember when we played against Long Island, it felt like every time I got the ball, there were like 8 guys around.
Yeah.
And it was a weird feeling, and it actually helped me to grow a little bit because, like, you know, lacrosse is an IQ thing. I remember playing with a guy named Jim D'Arcangelo, who's a Hall of Famer. I went to a camp called I think it was called Miami Lacrosse Camp. Took a bus down there, by the way, 28 hours in high school. And I'm playing with a guy named Jim D'Arcangelo. Now I'm 16, 17. This guy's like 37 with a beer belly, and we're playing in an all-star game, and there's a ground ball, and he's getting to them before me every time, and I'm like, yo, I know I'm faster than you. And I was like, what is this? And it kind of occurred to me later in life, like, he just knew where that ball was going to be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't, so it's kind of like lacrosse IQ. So, like, when you lost to those teams, even though maybe, you know, you guys might have had, like, some of the skill, when you come into a team with a high lacrosse IQ, it's gonna get tough,
and that's why my coach, Gene White, he played at Morgan, and he was pretty good there, man. He was like he hated when the guys he always like stop twirling that fucking stick, and I mean then you know dudes are doing like flipping a stick 360, catching it, like showing off. He's like, dude, because coach knew what we were gonna face when we played these other guys, that they just gonna keep your hand in, just do that, and it's like they just get lazy with it and keep it out there. The taunt guys.
Right. Totally.
They smack that stick up in the air, ball gone, they down the field, score.
Yeah.
And we just like they just got like, they up 30 on us. Is like all that, you know, coach was like, hey man, and he told us like, man, all that taunting and shit, he was like, see, that shit ain't working now. That works against city schools because we were fundamentally better than everybody. Our coach, man, we won championships all 4 years. Y'all was there, but we would always lose in the regionals.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, y'all are better than everybody here. You're faster, stronger. I was holding out. Nobody was getting in my crease.
Right.
We had my guy Teddy, rest in peace. He died in a car accident a couple years back. Goalie, I mean, he went down, scored. You know what I mean? This is back when, you know, John Christmas was popping.
Oh, yeah.
And
buddy,
yeah,
man.
man. Oh, he did? Really?
Yeah. He came to do a clinic. That's why I met him, actually. That's how I met him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I like to get him on my Zoom, man. Talk to him, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about that. Yeah,
And my boy Terrence, he played. I was playing club. He walked on to Maryland, and he played at a county school, and I don't know. I didn't talk to Terrence in a while, man. But yeah, he played D1 Terps while I was same time I was playing club. So we always chat and talk it up. But he was black. Right. But the difference between Terrence and us was Terrence's team, they didn't do the flashy stuff, man.
Yeah.
And that got him to like that where when he went to Maryland, they weren't having none of that showboat shit. This was like NCAA D1 lacrosse.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of like N1 basketball.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, is that going to float against Duke?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But like, at the same time, like, my team's here, and I would always practice the trick plays. Why? Because
you can see it.
Because it's fun.
Yeah.
Because if you guys just go and do your right to right, left to left all the time, it kind of gets boring. So you want to make it exciting. So and also, like, if you're in a situation where you're locked off here, you can shoot behind your back, and it would be useful.
Yeah.
But you don't want to make it your go-to.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I guess like they would say, like with the Celtics, it's like, you know, master the fundamentals, and then you flip, you know, you go beyond that. So, but it's all a learning experience.
But hey, man, I feel like I'm missing out on that, man, because I definitely would like. I'm not. We said it a while ago, but I mean, I still got sticks. I ain't got no gear. That was actually a game that I did about 2 seasons with that. That was the old school Proton.
Oh yeah, I
remember
I had one of those too.
Yeah,
it looks like the Excalibur a little bit.
The Excalibur, yeah, my bad. Man, you got it right there. So So Coach had got a bunch. So those back when we got those were old, and Coach got a bunch of the sticks and the shafts and the heads and the kits and everything. He got them, and this was because they were laughing at us when we had those. When we went up there and we would bust their ass.
Those
man.
are banging.
Yeah.
Yo.
Now, of course, I did the dye job. That was my first time dyeing the stick right there. And
funny
everything.
lacrosse story, just real quick.
Yeah. This got
Lacrosse-
Yahoo Auctions. Somebody got Yahoo Auctions. Somebody in Japan.
Oh, I remember that. Is that it's not an Under Armour, is it?
This is a Proton.
That's the Proton.
Yeah,
That's the
Proton, yeah.
Yo, so actually, our first lacrosse game in Brooklyn, we went to play a school called Hotchkiss Day School. I guess it might have been in Connecticut or whatever. But check it out. Like, we had never seen a goal until we got to that first game. So we're on the bus traveling in. We're like, oh, goals. Yeah. We haven't even put our helmets on for the first time. Yeah. So they just came in the mail. We had to sell blow plop candies to get our equipment. Yeah, and you had the buckets, right? We had the buckets. Baby.
Yeah,
I still got mine too.
Yeah. We had because we had got the buckets, and I'm like, what the buckets? Like everybody's like, say no, because it was the top guys had the streamlined, the newer style, right. And I had got a bucket, and then I was like, man, I could hit people, and they say, and I put the other one. I was like, I can't hit people as much
Did
as
you
I
put the double foam like in the tape.
Yeah.
To make myself look scary with the black tape.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So,
So check it out. We show up at that game, a Hotchkiss, which is like a private school, and we're guys from Brooklyn showing up. 40 of us ragtag with my coach, one of my best friends to this day, Coach Chick, Paul Chakrian, and like we show up there, we never seen goals. We go off, we start the game. I don't know what happened. I got a ground ball, I scored. We went crazy. It was first goal in history for Midwood.
Yeah.
My high school's had championships since then, but like it was the first goal. So we're up 1-0. Game goes on, we lose 6-1.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience, and like we never saw goals before, and I always tell that story because it was so crazy. Like to be driving in on the bus, like, oh, that's what the goals look like.
Yeah.
We had been playing on the soft lacrosse things up until then.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't have the stuff yet. We didn't have the stuff. It was a new sport to our school.
Yeah.
Like in Brooklyn, we didn't have it. There was only one school with a team, and that was Brooklyn Poly Prep. Yeah.
Man.
So yeah, it's good times.
Yeah, man. Hey, man. Again, I know how it is. I know how it is, man. Got the boys, man. Yeah,
and I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah,
what you're doing.
And like, I mean, the thing about it, we could have. You were saying like this could have. I mean, I was like, man, I'll just wait till you get up here and do everything because it's like I do Zoom stuff a lot, man. I was like, man, I want to do this in person, man. You're here and everything, but like I say, kind of get on that, man. Like I say, if we definitely got some other lacrosse stuff going on, man, I like to definitely just to. Cause I literally haven't been around lacrosse, right? And I got a stick, a long stick on the wall. These are all game sticks and everything, and I got another one at the house. But I haven't. I took my my sons. I just want. I mean, they gonna learn how to, even if they don't never play.
Yeah. I mean,
just put it in their hand. And
lacrosse changed my life, man. I got a lot of love for the game. Like if I never played another day in my life, so anything you want to do, I'm always like, that changed my life, man. I love the game. Just
let me know when we got some stuff going. I mean, I can get down to Sendai and everything just to see I mean, I can still catch through and everything, just to see. I mean, they definitely know you, but then to see another black guy, like it's like. You know what I mean? We could throw it back and forth, and they'd be like, "This is crazy, dude."
I got my self lacrosse set too. Maybe I should have it, give it to you.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want to, do some things with the youth.
Yeah.
Your kids are going to be in the community too. And
man.
You got 5. You got half a team.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah, man. Seriously, man.
So no, but really, soft lacrosse is a great way to introduce it. I've done that a little bit, but I guess change in Japan is slow, and I think that they need to get it into the gym classes.
They still use a fax machine, man.
Yeah, forget about it. Yeah, somebody talking about fax the other day.
Yeah, it's like I was like, no, I'm gonna find another business, man. I got a fax machine. I'll use it literally 3 times in the last 2 years, and because like any company that make me, I'm like, dude, now I'm like, I my customers, I have them email me, and I mean, email is industry standard, and they like, nah, man, I could just send you on a what? I'm like, nah, I don't want to do the apps because that makes it too like you can hit me up at any time of night. Email is like business hours where I can get to it when the next day. Like, you know what I mean? Wiz, there's a handful of people, like literally 2 handfuls of people in this world that I'll even carry a conversation with on Facebook because it's like, you know what I mean? They hit you up like, hey man, how's it going? I'm like, man, what do you want, man? Yeah, I don't even answer it honestly, and I hate to be like that, but it's like I with the kids, the wives, what I got going on, and the people I want to give my time to, man. I just think people are too going on a tangent, man. People are too they feel like they require your time. Like, nah, that's earned. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta tell them, don't make your urgency my emergency.
Yeah, and I tell them that shit all the time, man. Like, hey, man, you knew you were on PCS 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Don't hit me up like, I had a dude yesterday, and this is just East Coast. You know what I mean? I could have carried it a certain kind of way, but the cat, he was talking in the background. I heard it, but I was taught to mind my business. I heard the conversation, and they were talking about tuning. And the guy, I know, was arguing for my partner because he kind of didn't really, there's some other stuff in the background, but I heard the guy talking about tuning, and then he's like awkwardly, hey, man, he tunes. And I was like, I looked at him like, yeah, I tune. And I was like, so you never heard of Pinku Style? And I never heard of you. I was like, all right, cool, thanks, man. I turned my back on him and did my thing. 10 minutes later, he's standing there. Hey, man, I was wondering if I can get on you. I'm like, dude, like, he could have said it a certain kind of way. Like, ain't no way you've been there for 4 years and you got a sports car and all the stuff you talking about, you never heard of me. Yeah. He just don't know how to respond. And his brain was like, nah, I never heard of you. And I just turned my back on him straight up. I was like, all right, I was like, word. I was like
being in the baseball and you never heard of Mizuno.
Yeah, I didn't say me. I said my bit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I didn't. So I was like, I wouldn't say. And I actually chopped it up with him, but I was like, if I would have said, hey, do you know who I am? I would never say that to anybody. Number one, that's just not my. You know me. Who I am. Yeah, that's some Hollywood shit. But I was like, have you ever heard of? And I just said in a derogatory. I was like, have you ever you never heard of Pinku Style? No, I never heard of you. And they was like, oh no, I didn't mean like that. I'm like, yeah, you did, because you said it like that. Yeah.
Sometimes people.
Yeah, but when he said it, I was like, all right, I was like, I forgot what I said because I just got finished driving back from Tokyo and I was up for like 2 days. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, all right, cool, and I turned my back, kept doing my thing, and then he was like, hey man, I didn't mean like that, but I was wondering if I could get on your books. I'm like, well, you didn't hear about me 10 minutes ago, but now you wanna entrust your $30,000 car to me. Like, dude, there's no way in 10 minutes you're gonna do that without hearing about me. Right, so you know about me, and I was like, well, I happen to build the best cars in town, and I literally talked to him for like a minute and gave him my spiel respectfully, and just let him know, like, ain't nobody here in Japan doing nothing I can't do. Right. And then like, if I could have played it like in a, I guess try out for him. Like, I ain't trying out for you. This is what I do. This is where I've been at. I've been there 15 years. You've been there for 3.5 years, and left it at that. And that's how I get my people. So it's risky because I straight up tell people, like, hey man, good luck. Because I'm like, you're not going to find nobody else that's going to do for the price point. And also, like, keep it real with you, let you know what's up in the time. I'm like, Japanese are good, but they're very, if you pinpoint them, I only want to change the knobs and your screen's busted, they will never even bring up the screen. They will only take this apart, change your knobs, change the tact switches, and not even, oh yeah, the screen's broke, but you didn't ask for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, your screen's broken. I'm going to take this off to change all the switches. We can do it or not. And that's how I give it to the guys, and not upselling, but letting them know I got to go in this area, and this area is going to affect my area. So we kind of got to fix that. So I just give it to them straight, man. So I'm good, man. Everything and the whole thing. And I always talk to Wiz when I see him at Lawson's and Family Mart and stuff like that randomly. And he offers to buy me coffee and stuff. He's down laughing down there and everything, man.
Nah, I know you're serious about business, man. Like, when I told you about the car in Sendai, you just, you was there. I was like, this dude is really here right now. Believe it or not, like, I didn't even, actually, that was it was a sacrifice. I actually made no money off that car because it was a business partner, and he's flipped that car, got it up, already done events with it, and it grew his business as a result of me giving it to him at the price, because he was I think I only charged him for the storage and some other stuff. Right. So I think I made like maybe $600 off of it. He's flipped that into the marketing, and then in the reverse, he makes my racing suit. He makes this stuff, and like I've benefited from that car doing things in the development, and then one of the parts he developed on that car, he's selling worldwide now, and I got a discount on it, and I got it downstairs. So like that circle. You know what I'm saying? And that all came from you, man. Listen, I'm in your corner, man.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your new creation.
Yeah.
Which people will learn about.
Yeah. They're a year old, so they gotta start working next year.
Guys like us, you don't find very often. How many black men started a lacrosse team in Japan? How many black men out here?
Not a lot, man.
Putting cars, making, cars. It's count them.
Yeah.
Count them.
Nah, it's real. It is, man. You can tell that when people when they meet you. I know for a fact a lot of because I mean my customers are all type of race. It don't matter, but
Right.
I know for a fact when I talk to a white guy, I'm his first interaction with a black dude, and like that I make sure that shit is like, hey man, this is how, like, we don't be like no on some handshake shit with like back in medieval time where there was no documents. Like, I got invoices, spreadsheets, this and this. Everything is documented. You contact me by this way, and by the end, they either don't come back because they're like, oh, he's too stern, or they like, oh man, I didn't know. One guy was like, I didn't know something this and this. I was like, oh, you didn't know black people was orderly, and he kind of got. He was like, kind of like, yeah, because all he's known is like, what he see on MTV or. Well, not MTV. Yeah. MTV don't play music no more. But what you see on BET or you see on this and this.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Listen, my father, who passed a couple years ago, but listen. He was a black film historian. Okay, he wrote a book called African Americans in the Silver Screen, and one of the things that he said that's really important is that, like, he said, like, it was really important to have people like Oscar Micheaux and people like that who were creating movies with blacks playing other roles. And I always said to him, Dad, like, why is it so important? And he said like this. He said, like, if you're a person living in Minnesota, or some small town in America where there are no blacks,
right,
and the only thing that you see blacks doing is in movies being criminals or etc. In real life, they're gonna, when they see you, that's what they're gonna assume you are. So he said, like, it's really important to be represented in the moving image, in the silver screen. And that was part of like what drove, him initially to get into that, to say that, we need to be portrayed as different things. So there it is playing out right there. Like you just said, if all you see on TV is this and that, you're going to think that, like, oh, you're a doctor? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that just kind of like, just to go on of a tangent, but that's real.
No, it's real, man. It's real for sure, man. And then letting my wife is a derivative or example of that. Like, I mean, before, when she met me, I mean, I had to not convince her, but I'm like, man, because I'm like, if I'm going to mess around, do whatever, like, we just not going to be together. So she had got, when I met her, she was retiring from the clubs, you know what I'm saying? Right. So she was, she was older, but I was like, I've been here at the time, like 12 some years. No, like about 10 some years. I was like, she was like, I'm like, I never seen you because that wasn't my lane. When I met her, the last time I went to the club was when I did something with Wiz and Will and Tan back in, it was another, same kind of joint we did, but it was like, it was a smaller club.
Oh, that was Hills, right?
Hills. It was Hills.
Yeah.
It was Hills. Right. So that was my first time ever in Hills. And now I'm in Cuba. We chatted up. He's at my old shop. Okay. Hill's owner is at my last shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he started a landscaping business. But she was like, she had a misconception. She was like, well, I know black guys do this and I know guys do this. I'm like, yeah, they ain't black guys. Is males, number one. Black, Puerto Rican, Spanish, whatever. They all were men, and normal dudes with testosterone act a certain kind of way, and I mean, I go on Lawson's. It's just like, I know I could bang that chick if I want to. I just know it. It's just that vibe where you can look at him in the eye, you know what I mean? You don't touch him, you grab the middle of the bag when they give you the bag and stuff like that. But I know I can slide you in my car and be in a love hotel tonight because Japanese dude ain't gonna do it. And she knows that too, so she kind of get that. I'm like, dude, that's not what I'm doing. I'm confident. I'm not afraid of women. But her mom, like, pissed me off, dude. But like a year ago, one of her friends asked. The friend was trying to get a job here. She wanted to stay here to try it out, and she asked me for her friend to stay here. I have a studio upstairs in my room, right. So her mom was like, "Oh, I noticed is he going upstairs more?" I'm like, "I was going upstairs before the friend came, right?" Wow. Then I'm like, "Dude, I thought her mom is cool, but that one instance, I'm gonna mess with her friend in her house. Like, I'm not gonna stop going upstairs." Because her friend was in the room next room, and I had my studio. I was doing emails and shit. Yeah. So her mom, just even to this day, I'm like, dude, I'm out here busting my ass 15, 16 hours a day, and you think
it'd be hard for you to lie about that. It's like, like it's too obvious.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, you think? So I'm like, I'm running to Tokyo. I literally drive from here to Yokohama and back in the same day, just to get back and make sure my family is not unattended.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I think about is I'm away and I don't post pictures of nothing when I'm out. That's why, that's why I don't, when I go out a lot, I don't post like, hey, I'm down here, I'm down there. Because normally I'm down and back. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing all this shit, man. And like, you just thinking I'm out here like going to love hotels and snack clubs and
Maybe she experienced something.
Yeah,
like that
she experienced her.
herself
Well,
or
her
something
ex
like that.
had they were engaged, and he
Projecting
I'm
on
like,
you.
dude, that
She's
ain't me,
projecting that
man.
on you,
She's like, no, I mean, it's like, and I also ain't got no mixtape coming out either, so sorry, but I do make beats though. Yeah, there's like, you got a mixtape. I was like, nah, but I do make beats. He was like, will you rap? I'm like, nah, I'm not. I supply the beats, and I'm not a producer. And I tell dudes that shit too. Like, oh, you so you're a producer? I'm like, nah. A producer is we can go to. That's a whole different rabbit hole. Producers are different kind of Teddy Riley and.
Yeah, you could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Puffy's a producer.
Yeah,
but he doesn't touch the keys like Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah. So a lot of guys don't. And this thing here, man. They're like, no, I'm a producer. Like, no, you're a beat maker. And no, I'm not a beat maker. Like, yeah, you're a beat maker. Nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being a beat maker, but that you're is beat making and producing is. Hey, man, you should put that course here or do this and do that and blah blah blah.
What you got to remember is like. Kanye's a billionaire now.
Yeah.
Hey, it came from beats.
Yeah, beats.
Listen. It came from beats.
Beats. Yeah.
Beats first. I mean, maybe the people like his raps, but what had got him in the door was the beats.
Right.
So making great beats can change your life.
Yeah, man. I just like I said, like kind of going back, man, real quick before we get out of here, man. I just kind of wish I was I didn't actually complete the idea, but I kind of wish, for me personally, I would have started doing it like maybe 5 years earlier because I honestly think. I would have had the motivation to work with some artists and do stuff. So now it's for my own personal pleasure to be able to orchestrate a beat because a lot of people can't do it. It's actually easy to all us here, me, yourself, and Wiz, but a lot of people can't sequence. They don't have the first idea on how to put a.
Well, it's fun for you. Yeah. It's almost like going out and playing pickup game of basketball.
That's like making babies. It's like making kids you ain't gotta pay for, man. To me, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's like making a creation.
Let me tell you this.
Yeah.
You know what? You never know because let me tell you this. I guess Herbie Hancock did Rocket when he was like 50.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah. I got the catalog, man.
So you never know.
Yeah. I still make them and get them out there. So my way of marketing them is I put them in the YouTube videos.
Right.
And every once in a while I'll get hey man, who made that track? I made the track and that feels cool. And then you send them a link. Then I got buddies who know me for like 13, 15 years. That happened last week. He's like, I didn't know you did boom bap or whatever, and he's a dude in Edinburgh, UK. Never knew he was in the boom bap. It never kind of came up.
Right.
He's like, dude, that the golden era, like that's my shit. And I was like, hey man, here's a link. Whatever you like in there, just send me the tracks. I'll clean them up a little bit. Cause some of my older SoundCloud stuff, it was the level, the hi-hats like make your head hurt because they're so damn high.
Yeah.
And
I had problems with that. A lot of people would do that too.
Well, that was back when I couldn't hear it, but now I can kind of
headphones.
I can kind of stand right here.
Right.
And actually, this is a bad setup kind of because I actually get
feedback.
I get a little bit of feedback on my ear actually it's a little bit closer, so my right ear gets tired left ear, and I gotta like back up.
But I like mixing in the headphones.
Yeah.
You don't like? I feel like
I never had good headphones.
I hear it differently.
I never had a pair of good headphones in my life.
Nuances that, like when I hear on an outside speaker or in the car, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and that's what
feels different.
One thing Kanye said, man, was like he was like your shit needs to sound good on a little speaker in a mall, on a car with busted speakers, with a car with a sub, and it's like that's because I remember when you guys took me to the club, and I actually. And that what happened. I never heard my music on the big speakers, and I actually was mixing in. So when we were doing setup,
right.
I was turning the bass down on the because it was too.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, but it was too much.
Right.
And then I had to like mix it down and everything, and then like all right, then
these things are louder than MP3s, you know.
Yeah.
It's like whole different kind of.
Hey man, we're at an hour and 50 right now, man. It's one of those. You know what I mean? Normally I like 3 hours and everything, but when my guys in line, man. But again, man, you guys are there. It's gonna be we all over the place, lacrosse, music, everything, life in general. And like I said before, man, one thing about the podcast, my man right here, Wiz, we're all deep. We all 1,000 times deeper than the hour that you get right here. So it's kind of, so we'll do multiple podcasts. It's kind of hard to, and we don't, I mean, life trial tribulations. We just talk, man, conversation. We actually talked for about 30, 40 minutes before this even started. So, yeah, man. So definitely check in for the next podcast. This is episode number 156. So I did 156 of these. Go back and check them all out. They're not in chronological order, so you can watch them. I would say from about 50 and up is when the quality really got good, because I got this studio and the cameras are fixed. Everything is fixed. And I got set it up like my last podcast. Still, Wiz did 2 there, all right, Wiz? You did one there? Did you do 1 here? Oh yeah, man. See, man, you got man. Come on, man. You got Reddrokk here from Sendai before you got in there and everything, man. But I got a little cinema couch down there. But yeah, man. So that's how it is, man. Podcasts are pretty cool, long format. Definitely check it out if you guys looking at, because this is music oriented. This will be actually on my regular page and my music. So it'll be posted twice. So this is my music page. I started for music podcasts. Okay. So it'll be there and everything, and then it'll be clipped out and everything. So it'll be on both channels. You're looking to get into music and stuff like that by watching this podcast, man, just get started. Don't get a bunch of damn gear. Just get something to make music on sequence and then get started. After you, my advice is get started. Don't worry about trying to get all the gear, because you can have all the gear in the world, everything midied up, and this and this, man, and still not make fire, man. You know what I mean? Because you don't need much to make much nowadays. And it's definitely better than back in the day. Again, when Everett started here, man, it was, man, you had to pay $2,000, $3,000 for a machine, steal it, do what you got to do, tape deck, different things like that, data tracks, all types of stuff. Now it's digital. You can literally record for 3, 4, 5 hours straight. Yeah. You know what I mean? Before you run out of gigs and stuff, man. So you guys got the advantage now of this stuff, and also you got the advantage of actually going back and getting some. This is actually a new. This is new. Old. This is not old gear right there. So MPC 60, SP12, those guys are like the older stuff. So I want to say torture yourself with that, because that's a steep learning curve, and you're limited, and that'll make it not enjoyable for you. But if you're looking to get into music, got any questions? I'm not a guru, but I'm decent at it. You know what I'm saying? But just hit me up if you got questions for DJ Reddrokk right here. Check them out on Instagram and everything. Drop the line and everything like that. And if you're looking to get into lacrosse or whatever, sports, whatever, just hit me up. And yeah, man, definitely just be easy out there. Keep it positive. Keep it moving forward. And it's staying like we get told from Baltimore, man. Just stay in your lane and everything will be good. Everything will be cool, man. I think a lot of guys are there too. They just doing too much and everybody else's business, man. I don't know what Kanye and Kim doing. I'm doing what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But that's just an example, because we talk about Kanye a bunch, but I don't know nothing about what's going on in his life. I just respect what Kanye for what he did, and college dropout and that stuff and blah blah blah. And even the new joint it had his moments on the new joint, but it was it is what it is, man.
He make dope beats. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you could think of Martin Luther King as like all the great things he's done. Or you could think about him like cheating on his wife.
Yeah, and people. Yeah. I don't. That, I don't know what led into that situation. Whatever his wife had and stuff like that, and then it's like shit. Like, I mean, dude, you get the white Hollywood dudes would get like glorified for doing that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? The same thing that MLK did. They just say, oh well, blah blah blah. But he cheated on his wife, right? Like, you don't know. Okay for, yeah. You know who? Yeah, man. We'll start the podcast again, start talking about that shit. But anyway, it's gonna be Donnie Sound from South Japan. You got Everett Mapp, DJ Reddrokk up from Sendai. Then we got my guy Wiz down there. Raise your hand, Wiz.
Peace out.
You can't eat. There you go.
DJ Wisdom from Atlanta.
Yeah.
The greatest. Big shout out to my homeboy Sha.
Yeah.
He's back. My homies Freestyle Cologne, Low Deck, Box Guts. Peace and love. And Pinku Style, the best you can get right here.
Yeah,
this
man.
Is what it is.
Yeah, man. I'm saying, say the best one of the best and everything,
I
man.
I wish you blessings in your family.
Yeah, man. Man. They gotta hurry up and grow up, man, because it's getting kind of. Yeah, man. Gotta get back to normal and everything. So again, guys, gonna be down signing off from South Japan. Definitely send those messages, send emails. We're gonna see you guys later. Peace.